You see it, don't you? They act like you, speak like you, pick up your habits, your energy, your mindset. They start using your words, dressing like you, even shifting their life in ways that look eerily familiar. But the one thing they won't mirror, your love. It's frustrating, confusing, painful, because deep down, you know they feel it. You know they see you. You know they recognize the connection, even if they refuse to admit it. So why are they mirroring everything except the love? Here's the truth. They are mirroring your love. Just not in the way you think. Not in the way that feels warm, or validating, or reassuring. No, they're mirroring it in reverse. In resistance. In avoidance. And that's where people get stuck. Because we expect mirroring to look like agreement. Like acceptance. Like two energies syncing up in harmony. But sometimes mirroring looks like running. It looks like deflection. It looks like them stepping into everything except the love, because the love is the one thing they don't know how to face. Not yet. Because love, real love, isn't just about attraction. It's not just about comfort. It's about confrontation. It forces you to see yourself. And if they're not ready to see themselves the way you see them, if they haven't done the inner work to hold that mirror up without fear, they won't step toward it. They'll step away. And in doing so, they'll step into the version of themselves that feels safer. The version that mirrors your external world, your habits, your way of speaking, your lifestyle, but not the raw, vulnerable depth of the connection. Because the depth, that's terrifying. That's the part of them they can't control. So they run. They resist. They pretend. And it feels like rejection. Like indifference. Like proof that maybe, just maybe, you imagined it all. But what if I told you, this is proof? Not proof that it isn't real. Proof that it's working. Because their resistance, their mirroring, their avoidance, it's a reaction. A sign that your energy is reaching them. That it's affecting them. That it's touching places within them they don't know how to hold yet. So the real question isn't, why aren't they mirroring my love? The real question is, can you hold your love steady, even when they can't? Because that's what changes everything. That's what shifts the mirror. That's what turns avoidance into acceptance. Not by chasing. Not by proving. But by becoming. Because when you hold love, not as something to be given or received, but as something you are, the mirror has no choice but to catch up. And when it does, that's when everything changes. But here's where most people get stuck. They see the runner resisting, deflecting, avoiding, and they react. They pull back, shut down, harden their heart. Because if they're not mirroring your love, why should you keep offering it? Why should you keep feeling it? And that right there, that shift from love to fear, from openness to protection, is exactly why the mirror stays the same. Because here's the paradox of twin flame mirroring. They don't just mirror who you are, they mirror what you believe. And if, deep down, you believe that love is unsafe, that love leads to loss, that love is something that needs to be proven before it can be trusted, then that's exactly what they'll reflect. Not consciously. Not intentionally. but energetically. Because this is not a normal connection. It does not follow normal rules. It bends reality to show you, again and again, exactly where you are within yourself. And if you are in doubt, if you are in fear, if you are in a place of waiting for validation before you fully stand in your love, that's the version of them you will see. Not because they don't feel the love, but because they are reflecting your relationship with it. So if you pull back, they pull back. If you stop trusting, they stop trusting. If you believe love is something you get rather than something you are, then they will show you the impossibility of getting it from them. Not to punish you, not to test you, but to show you where you still need to heal. And that's why the answer is never to close off, never to stop feeling, never to wait for them to wake up before you allow yourself to embody love. The answer is to step fully into your love first. Not because they need to see it, but because you need to see it. Because the moment your love is no longer a reaction to them, no longer dependent on their actions, their choices, their awareness, that's when the mirror shifts. That's when they feel it in a way they can't ignore. That's when the running no longer works. Because they're not running from you. They're running from the parts of themselves they aren't ready to face. So the real work? It's not in chasing. It's in becoming the energy of love so deeply, so unshakably, that when they look into the mirror, they have no choice but to see it, too. And when they do, that's when everything starts moving. That's when they stop mirroring your surface and start mirroring your depth. That's when the running ends. Not because you caught them, but because you stopped running from yourself. But here's the part no one tells you. The moment you stop running from yourself, the moment you fully embody love without needing them to reflect it back, that's when the journey takes its most unexpected turn. Because now, the mirror has no distortion, no filters, no barriers. And what happens when someone finally sees themselves clearly? They either step into alignment, or they break. And this is why so many twin flames experience a sudden collapse right before union. It's why, just when you think they're about to get it, they spiral. They push you away harder than ever. They lash out. They distract themselves with karmic cycles. They do anything to avoid looking directly at what they are feeling. Because love, real love, demands transformation. And transformation? It's messy. It's painful. It strips away the comfortable illusions they've lived in their entire life. It rips open the wounds they've worked so hard to bury. So if they aren't ready, if they're still clinging to the version of themselves that feels safer in the illusion, they'll reject the mirror even as they long for it. And you will feel it. Every bit of it. The pull, the resistance, the way they want to come closer but don't know how. The way they mirror your growth in every area, except in love. Not because they don't feel it, but because feeling it means changing. And change is terrifying. Because stepping into love isn't just about accepting you, it's about accepting themselves. Their shadows. Their wounds. The parts of them they swore no one would ever see. So what do? How do you hold space for someone who is running from the very thing that will set them free? You stay anchored. You keep becoming. You keep embodying love, not as something you hope they'll mirror, but as something that is simply who you are. Because here's the truth. When you become unconditional love, you create an energetic field so strong, so undeniable, that they can't escape it forever. They can resist it. They can fear it. They can fight it. But they cannot unsee it. And once someone has seen themselves in the purest, truest mirror of love, they will never be the same. Even if they try to be. Even if they run. Even if they tell themselves they don't feel it. Because the moment they step away, the world will feel different. Empty. Dull. Lacking something they can't name. And no matter where they go, no matter who they try to replace you with, they will find themselves circling back to the same truth. You weren't a dream. You weren't a phase. You weren't just another person in their life. You were the one mirror they couldn't look away from. And when they are finally ready to see themselves fully, that's when they'll return. Not because you waited, not because you convinced them, but because love, real love, always calls you home. But here's where the final shift happens. By the time they return, you won't be the same person who was waiting for them. You won't need them to come back to feel whole. You won't be standing in the same space, hoping, wondering, questioning. Because the journey wasn't about them mirroring your love, it was about you becoming your love. And once you are that love, once you stand fully in your own energy, something incredible happens. The dynamic flips. The runner stops running. Not because you chased. Not because they suddenly figured it out. But because your energy is stabilized in such a way that they can finally feel safe stepping toward it. Because what were they running from, really? It wasn't you. It was the pressure of being seen before they were ready. It was the fear of stepping into something so real that it demanded everything from them. But now, you are no longer waiting. No longer searching. No longer reaching for them to complete the story. And that's when they feel it. Not the push. Not the pull. Not the frantic energy of longing and loss. But the calm. The stillness. The unwavering presence of love that doesn't need to be chased because it just is. And that, more than anything, is what calls them home. Not your words. Not your efforts. Not your attempts to make them see. But the way your energy speaks louder than anything you could ever say. And when they do return, when they finally step forward, not as a runner, not as a reflection, but as an equal, that's when you'll understand. The whole journey was never about getting them to mirror your love. It was about becoming the version of you that didn't need them to. And once you reach that place, love has nowhere left to run. Because it's already arrived. In you.